I recently watched a movie I've been meaning to get around to for a while in the 2001 Bob Odenkirk-led action film Nobody. This film was pitched to me as a perfect movie, and I'll be honest, I really enjoyed it. But when it was time to give my Letterboxd review, I had a dilemma I have pretty consistently. Do I give it a coveted 5-star review, or is it not so deserving of such a high honor? Movie rating systems are pretty screwed up. It's hard to know what 5 stars means versus 4.5 stars, and should 5 stars only go to perfect movies? How do I know what a perfect movie is? This question sent me down a long rabbit trail of debate, research, and thoughts. My dilemma was I really liked Nobody, but I couldn't decide if I liked it more than one of my favorite movies ever, John Wick. So, is a perfect film only perfect based on comparison to other films? Well, no. This turns into a paradox because I can say Nobody is 4 stars because I like John Wick better and it's 5 stars. Okay, why do I like John Wick? Do I compare John Wick to another film or just start breaking down an analysis of John Wick? Okay, now Nobody gets treated unfairly because I did an analysis of John Wick but just compared Nobody to someone else and now everyone's fighting. This is a messy and inefficient system, but what I've learned from this is you should rate a movie by itself. Look at this movie and this movie alone. What do you rate it? Okay, why is this already so complicated? I think the problem here is the age-old question. Should we rate movies subjectively or objectively? I can appreciate the hard work that went into the animated version of The Hobbit in 1977, and I think there's some good songs in there, but it's not for me at all. I think it's super boring and the pacing is awful. I think Mall Cop is one of the funniest movies of all time, but objectively, it's not close to a cinematic masterpiece. Okay, so how can we quantify subjective with objective? Well, we know what's subjective because that's up to you. That's the point of subjectivity. And there is no objective best movie, but we can try our best to build a rubric. I'm not going to spend too long on this because I feel like it's pretty easy to say what makes a good movie. Is the story clear and makes sense? Do the characters have good motives? Is it well paced? Is it well edited? Is there anything that distracts from the film's main goal? Are the performances strong? Etc. This way of rating movies is what I call Oscar perfect. On paper, Bradley Cooper's Maestro checks all the boxes for an Oscar perfect movie. But within those checkboxes of making an Oscar-perfect movie, they forgot to make something that was remotely interesting to an audience. But if you followed the Oscars at all, you know this system doesn't work either, and I think it's why movie rating sites are so untrustworthy. Yeah, the Mario movie would get a bad score from me too if I was using the same rubric I used to judge Jurassic Park. If you're thinking about what makes a perfect movie, I think what a lot of people miss is intention. Why would I watch Mall Cop? That movie's so dumb. Yeah, that's the point. Regardless of your movie preferences, you have to rate a movie on its own based on if it achieves its goals. The goal of Nobody is to be an epic beat-em-up thriller that fuels the manly desire to protect your family. It's not Oscar-worthy filmmaking, but it achieves its goal pretty perfectly. We have to stop pretending that every single movie that gets made is trying to be a cinematic masterpiece. The Mario movie is just fun, and if you rate it based on its goal to be a film adaptation of the Super Mario universe, it does its job well. I also think that rewatchability has something to do with what makes a perfect film. I've heard a lot of people say things like, Joker is a perfect movie, but I'd never watch it again. If it's truly a perfect movie, it has to be digestible. I really hate this modern narrative that for a movie to be art, it has to push the boundaries of what can be shown in a theater. That's not true at all. And in my mind, this way of filmmaking is a cop-out. We need to realize that throwing a bunch of sex and gore in a movie doesn't make it art, and if you can't write a good story that doesn't have these things, maybe you're not a good writer. Good art is digestible. If you can't watch a movie more than once, I'm sorry, it's not perfect. Okay, so what have we learned so far? We can't really combine subjective and objective, but we can define the two. We shouldn't rate movies based on comparison. Movies should be rated based on how well they achieve their goals. Good art is digestible, and the Oscars suck. So where do we go from here? Well, since we can't combine objective and subjective, let's not even try. In fact, let's keep them separate. Now that we've acknowledged the two camps of Oscar perfect and subjective perfect, there's a much better way to phrase this. The words I've chosen to describe these two camps are exemplary and ideal. Exemplary meaning serving as a desirable model, representing the best of its kind. And ideal meaning satisfying one's concept of what is perfect, most suitable. Essentially, an exemplary movie is representing what that genre should be, and an ideal movie is just based on your opinion on what you think is perfect. Everything Everywhere All at Once is an exemplary movie. I appreciate the filmmaking and how unique and wacky the story is. I think this is an example of how smaller budget filmmaking can be great, but it's not close to ideal since I really disagree with the messaging of this film. 80 for Brady is a pretty dumb movie, but I think its goal of being a goofy and fun movie about old ladies that love Tom Brady is achieved really well. It's an ideal movie for me, but it's not even close to exemplary. John Wick is exemplary. The amount of care that was put into this movie to achieve a kick-butt, one-man army revenge thriller is unmatched. This is also one of my favorite movies, and I could really watch it at any point and love it. So it's exemplary and ideal. And it's only here can our two circles cross into each other to create a perfect movie. Would you look at that? We made a Venn diagram. Here you go. We finally have a diagram that shows how to decide what is truly a perfect movie. But plot twist, no it's not. This chart is still extremely subjective because what I think is exemplary and ideal is entirely my opinion. What this chart is good at doing is helping you decide how you feel about a movie by breaking it into categories. This can really help form our discussions and our opinions, but at the end of the day, art is subjective, and that's a good thing. If we could pinpoint what is hands down, factually 100% without a doubt the most perfect movie, there would be no point to discussing films, which is my favorite part. This is the reason I've had a podcast for 4 years with over 125 episodes. Sharing opinions about films with my best friends is one of the greatest joys. So if there's no such thing as a perfect movie, what do you call this place in the center? What do you call a movie that, in your opinion, is an example of what a genre should be and is ideal to your taste in film? This film has a clear goal and it achieves it well. This is a complete movie. It's not perfect because man cannot make anything perfect. But if it sets out a clear goal and achieves it well, what else would it be but complete? So now we have a complete system to decide how we feel about a complete movie. This has already helped me have more educated conversations with people about movies. I feel like I can talk about these films and not have to explain myself. But the final piece of the puzzle is, how does this relate to the original 5-star problem? Well, I think it's simple. Both categories get 2.5 stars worth of weight, and then they combine to make a final rating. Or if you're a nerd, you can also give each side a weight of 5 stars and just find the median of the two. Either way works, this just isn't really how my brain functions, so I'm gonna stick with 2.5. The B-movie really isn't an example of what an animated movie should be, but it is very well made and well animated, so it can get a 1.5. For me, it's an enjoyable movie, but definitely not close to my favorite, so another 1.5. There you go, B-movie, a 3-star movie. The Proposal is a 2.5 on exemplary. It's an example of what a great rom-com should be. While it's one of my favorites, having a couple scenes that you need to skip brings down the ideal score for me. 4.5 stars total, close, but not complete. Empire Strikes Back is an example of what a sci-fi should be and is ideal for me. I love this movie. 2.5 plus 2.5 equals 5 stars. That is a complete movie. There's no such thing as a perfect movie, but I hope this is helpful in letting you consider your opinions on films and have conversations in a much easier way. I highly recommend introducing this system to your friends because I've already had some really fun and interesting conversations around it. This is a really great system if you're someone that can't pinpoint why you like a movie, but you feel like you liked it. It splits it up into different camps and makes it easier to digest. But what do you think? What's a complete movie to you and why? Make sure you drop a comment below, subscribe for more content like this, and send it to a friend that you think would enjoy. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!